The Marawi crisis, airstrikes and operations against the Islamic State-inspired Maute group rage on. Let's begin with this. CNN Philippines obtaining this exclusive footage of firefight happening just half an hour ago in the barangay Lilod, Madaya, one of 4 barangays that Maute fires have holed up in. You can hear the mortar fire and sniper fire. You can also see smoke billowing, black smoke billowing in the distance. Government forces there saying the enemy has casualties. An exclusive footage from this morning. Smoke rises and a bomb falls, sending a loud boom across the city in yet another military airstrike. It's targeting an area believed to be a Maute lair. In another video, the sun rises, but the peaceful morning is interrupted by the sound of gunfire and a chopper on a mission. And black smoke covers the blue sky rising from the spot where the bomb fell. Well, let's get the very latest now from our senior correspondent, David Santos, live from Marawi. David, we heard about that stash of shabu found by government forces. Tell us more about that.
Well, operating troops stumble on what could be the biggest haul of shabu here in Marawi. This amid relentless government offensive to retake parts of Marawi still being held by militants. As attack helicopters and bomber planes pound on enemy targets, ground forces move in to fight the militants holed out in homes and buildings. The campaign is both deadly and excruciatingly slow.
Sa ngayon medyo tumagal, dahan-dahan ang according to some personnel nga namin sinasabi, sir, ding-ding na lang ang pagitan namin. So ganun yung labanan nila ngayon.
But the clearing operations are also yielding remarkable results. After the recovery of 52 million pesos in cold cash in a home inside the battle zone almost 2 weeks ago, Army troops recover on Sunday night what is believed to be the biggest illegal drug haul in Marawi. 11 kilos of shabu with a street value of more than 100 million pesos are taken from this undisclosed home, also in the war zone. The illegal drugs, the military says, are both peddled and consumed to sustain militant operations.
Magtagal po yung labanan kay nakakaano po sa gising, para gising po sila at makapaglaban pa ng matagal.
Aside from the ISIS flag, there are also high-powered firearms. Officials say no doubt it has the signatures of the Abu Sayyaf and Maute militants.
Yung iba ngayon, after how many days na labanan, medyo lax na rin sa security. Sabi na parang bangag, sir. Sabi, yun ang report sa amin kahapon.
3 more soldiers are killed, bringing the death toll in Marawi at more than 350. More than 1,600 people have also been rescued.
Makikita na ang ating kalaban ay hindi lang siya isang ordinaryo na terorista. Okay? Makikita natin yung kanyang linkages sa bawal na gamot, sa criminalities.
The confiscated shabu will be turned over to the PNP for proper safe keeping, as well as for the conduct of a deeper probe on its possible source. Of course, we recall President Duterte previously linking narco-politics to the Mautes as a source of funds for the militants' operations, including this attack here in Marawi, Pia.
Well, David, how many more Maute terrorists are there on the ground, and how true are these reports that operations could drag on for several months?
But from 500 militants, the military estimates the current number of their enemies at about 100 to 150. As in previous nights, we have been reporting, we could still hear from where we are now loud explosions coming from the war zone. While the military conducts bombing runs and mortar shelling, their officials blame the fire that has been burning parts of Marawi center on militants who use Molotov or fuel bombs to evade pursuing troops. Now, there have been speculations, especially among residents here, that this fighting could drag on for 6 more months. Now, this is something the military is vehemently denying, but at the same time, officials cannot provide a general time frame on how soon they see this crisis ending, Pia.
Well, David, you mentioned you can hear gunfire from where you stand, your position right now. That must be the firefight that's going on in Barangay Lilod, Madayat, or at least clearing operations at the moment. So David Santos there reporting from Marawi. Well, just as David had reported, President Duterte has been saying in past speeches that terrorists are into the illegal drug trade. The president said drugs are feeding terrorism in Mindanao and the Visayas.
Listen very carefully. This is what's happening to the country. We are facing a terrorism threat. It will be a compounded issue if itong mga Maute that's rampaging now in Lanao. Well, of course, yung MN are ready to talk to us. But these are the terrorists, I said. It's being driven with drugs. They want money for their uprising to sustain it, and they're peddling drugs. So we have a terrorism which is being fed with drugs in Mindanao and in the Visayas. Ang problema nito, pati dito sa Luzon nga. You better listen very carefully. This is what's happening to the country. We are facing a terrorism threat. It will be a compounded issue if itong mga Maute that's rampaging now in Lanao. Well, of course, yung MN are ready to talk to us. But these are the terrorists, I said. It's being driven with drugs.
Malacanang, the armed forces again assuring the public martial rule in Mindanao will not repeat the abuses committed during the Marcos regime. Our senior correspondent, Ina Andalong, has that story.
It's an assurance that's been given since the start of martial law in Mindanao. There will be no abuses.
The AFP will always guarantee the safety of each citizen who are doing the right things.
Malacanang and the military are stressing this again after President Duterte talked about a possible repeat of former President Ferdinand Marcos's martial law. The president then was responding to queries on what he will do if the Supreme Court rules that his martial law declaration has no basis. He said he'll pull out troops, but if the problem in Marawi worsens, he may declare martial law again, possibly, he says, a copycat of Marcos's. This again raises fears of human rights abuses, similar to what many experienced during the Marcos regime. Malacanang, however, stresses that's not what the president meant.
It does not include at all references any human rights abuse. The president was talking about the length and breadth and the depth of the efforts.
AFP spokesman Restituto Padilla shares the same analysis, but he has another interpretation. It may have been said in jest.
You know, the nature of the question and answer that transpired in Butuan was of an extent that nagkakabiruan na eh.
The Supreme Court will decide on the legality of President Duterte's martial law by July 5th, though President Duterte said he will withdraw troops from Marawi if the High Court rejects it. The AFP doesn't see this as a likely scenario.
It would be foolhardy to stop the fight because the martial law was lifted. So there's a threat to public safety. Tuloy pa rin po.
As far as the AFP is concerned, military offensives should continue with or without martial law. But it admits hunting down terrorists without it will be much more difficult. Ina Andalong, CNN Philippines.
President Duterte denies there was a failure of intelligence in the Marawi crisis. In a speech before the 4th Infantry Division in Butuan City, Mr. Duterte said the government adopted a soft policy towards the flow of firearms into Marawi as in hopes of securing a peace deal with Mora rebels. He's the president in his own words.
Itong Maute were bringing the firearms surreptitiously at hindi natin nakuha na gaano na karami ang amo pati baril sa loob. And besides, it was not a failure of intelligence kasi kung makita ka sila may armas tapos sabihin nila MIMN, ang standing order naman is ang galawin baka sakali. Papakiusapan pa natin ang mga kapatid natin. Walang gulo.
President's statement comes after Supreme Court Associate Justice Mariano del Castillo raised the possibility of a failure of intelligence on the Maute Group's plan to attack Marawi. Castillo asked this question during the oral arguments and petitions seeking to nullify the declaration of martial law in Mindanao. President Duterte also said martial law will continue until he's satisfied that, quote, not a single shot will be fired ever again, unquote. The President made his first public appearance over the weekend after 5 days of silence. The President said he went on a secret trip to a town in Mindanao. He explained he had to travel like a private citizen to go to the place, but gave no more details. The President was last seen on June 11th in Villamor Air Base for the arrival honors of soldiers killed in Marawi. He skipped the Independence Day celebrations the following day and was no longer seen in public the rest of the week, raising speculations about his health. Pressed by media, Malacanang said the President is well and just taking some time off to rejuvenate. A break first from local news. British authorities are investigating a deadly incident in London. A van plowed through a crowd of Muslim worshippers near a London mosque early Monday, killing one person and injuring 8 others. Police treating this as a terrorist attack. The city's mayor, as well as the British Prime Minister, are condemning the attack. Officials say a 48-year-old male suspect, allegedly the van's driver, was detained by people at the scene and arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. A raging wildfire kills at least 61 people in central Portugal, dozens more injured in what Portuguese officials describe as the greatest wildfire tragedy in recent years. Authorities expect the death toll to rise. Some of the victims were burned to death in their cars as they tried to escape the flames. And at least 2 tourists were killed after gunmen attacked a luxury resort near Mali's capital city of Bamako. 3 UN staff members were injured and taken to a hospital. A source briefed on the investigation tells CNN 2 of the 3 attackers were also killed and the 3rd gunman was missing. The government of Mali says the assault was carried out by terrorists. Authorities say the operation to secure the premises is ongoing. This soldier can't hold back her tears as she reads a letter of gratitude from a stranger. And one dead in what could be another terror attack in London. We have the latest here on Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back. Welcome to Facebook Live, CNN Philippines Newsnight. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Our top stories, of course, still what is going on in Marawi. Let's do a little recap of what we reported to you in the last segment. 11 kilos of shabu seized in Marawi. That came from a home, house that Maute fighters had occupied, and government soldiers retrieved those 11 kilos of shabu. Also, the airstrikes still ongoing, just 30 minutes, just half an hour, 45 minutes before we went on air. Another firefight in one of the barangays where the Maute fighters have holed up in. That firefight ongoing, clearing operations at this very moment as we speak. There are quite a number of Maute fighters still, according to David Santos' report. There are about 100. That is the estimate of the armed forces. About 100 to 150 of them still hold up in some portions of some 4 barangays out of the 96 barangays of Marawi City. In the meantime, we'd like to say hello to some of our viewers. Annie Kainap, who is watching from Jordan, Rose Santiago, who is watching from Saudi Arabia, Precious Flores, who is watching from Hong Kong. Tell us what you think of the stories tonight. Tell us what you think of what's going on in Marawi. We have more stories for you when we come back, and among them, those letters in what's called care packages, 5,000 of them being delivered to soldiers in Marawi and Iligan. Those letters of encouragement and gratitude from private citizens being sent to soldiers there. Welcome back. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Our top story tonight: authorities recover 11 kilograms of high-grade shabu and 4 high-powered firearms from a house used by Maute fighters in Marawi City. The military says the stash has a street value of 110 to 250 million pesos. That was discovered during a clearing operation. Authorities had found shabu in sachets in the early days of the crisis in Marawi City. The Western Mindanao Command notes so far this is the largest illegal drug haul since the crisis began. Troops in the front line say they're facing terrorists who are evidently high on drugs. Arrested Maute family members could go to trial in Metro Manila. It's a security challenge for the police and the military, but they say there's nothing to worry about. Our Rex Remito reports.
The Justice Department seeks the transfer of the trial of arrested Maute Group members from Cagayan de Oro to Taguig City. It is awaiting the Supreme Court's decision. There are concerns the terror group might appear in Metro Manila to rescue members of the Maute family detained in Camp Bagong Diwa. But for National Police Chief Bato de la Rosa, any rescue will be a failed attempt by the Maute. De la Rosa says security forces deployed in the metro outnumber and outgun the terrorist group.
Mas marami silang mga kadugo at mga kamag-anak na nandun sa Mindanao. Pag dito sa Metro Manila, medyo hirap silang kumuha ng suporta. At malakas yung ating presensya ng security forces dito sa National Capital Region.
De la Rosa, however, did not divulge details on their security plans if the High Court grants Aguirre's request. The military, meanwhile, says they have already fortified security along provincial borders. Armed Forces spokesperson Brigadier General Restituto Padilla says this will prevent Maute members from slipping into Metro Manila. Padilla cites the arrest of a woman believed to be a sister of the Maute brothers who are leading the siege in Marawi City. He says the supposed sister who was bound for Manila was apprehended in Iloilo. But Padilla also admits there's still a possibility Maute members may slip through the net.
Well, there's a possibility of one or two making it through, but being able to do something in the scale of Marawi, we don't think so. There couldn't be anything like that.
Both the police and military say the public has nothing to fear about the detention of Maute family members in Metro Manila. But security, they say, is also the responsibility of every citizen. Rex Remitio, CNN, Philippines.
The military says some 50 wounded soldiers from Marawi are ready to return to battle. AFP spokesman Restituto Padilla says these soldiers insisted they be allowed to return and complete their mission. Padilla adds this shows the high morale of troops.
They have requested their doctors attending to them to release them immediately from the hospital. And we have about close to 50 of our own soldiers who have, by their insistent demand, the doctors consented and allowed them to return back. They wanted to be with their units to continue the fight, finish it.
More policemen are now manning a police station in Iloilo after members of the New People's Army attacked it yesterday. And in Cagayan de Oro, alleged Maute members were brought back to the city after they were intercepted at the Iloilo port. While in Bukidnon, a bloodletting project for victims of the crisis in Marawi. Nicolette Henson-Hizan has the stories across the regions.
Let's begin in Western Visayas, where policemen from the Regional Public Safety Battalion are now manning the police station in Maasing, Iloilo, after New People's Army members raided the station. More than 50 members of the NPA Panay Command attacked and overran the station Sunday morning. The rebels, in a statement today, denied they stole personal belongings of policemen during the raid. The PNP said aside from guns, handheld radios, and a patrol car, the rebels also took cash and jewelry. The attack happened a day after over 400 soldiers from Panay were sent to Marawi City as augmentation force. In nearby Iloilo City, the local Coast Guard brought 3 alleged Maute Group members back to Cagayan de Oro City. They were intercepted aboard a to-go vessel coming from Cagayan de Oro, which made a stopover at the Iloilo port on Sunday before going to Manila. They were identified as Farida Romato, Al-Jadid Romato, and Abdul Rahman de Makuta. Their names are not in the arrest orders issued by the martial law administrator. Coast Guard authorities said the 3 suspects used different identities in buying their tickets. In Malaybalay City, Bukidnon, about 57 bags of blood were collected for the victims of the Marawi crisis. The 403rd Infantry Brigade organized the bloodletting activity. Brigade Commander Colonel Eric Vinoya said the donation will supply the needs of those wounded in the firefight. Nicolette Henson-Hizan, CNN Philippines.
A terrorist attack in London, a van slams into pedestrians, but authorities are asking residents to stay calm and vigilant. And the first Catholic Mass is celebrated in Marawi since the crisis began. You're watching Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back, Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. In the next segment of the show, we have this story for you. A terrorist attack in London. A van plowed through a crowd, a group of pedestrians just right outside a mosque there in London. Police are saying this is a possible terrorist attack, and they're treating it as such. A number of casualties there also. If you are a Filipino national, overseas Filipino worker living and working in London, tell us what the situation is like. You can comment down below in the comment section below, or you can tweet us, tag our social media accounts. We'd also like to say hello to some of our viewers right now. Lorraine Ruanto, who's watching from Barcelona in Spain, Maya Arevalo, who's watching from Las Vegas in the US, and Jean Ventura, who is watching from Hong Kong. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Tell us your thoughts, your opinions about all the stories tonight. Of course, our top story, Marawi, the crisis that has been going on for almost a month. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back. World headlines now. We begin with the United Kingdom. At least one person was killed, many others injured after a van slammed into pedestrians in London. Police saying one suspect was arrested in what London's mayor calls a horrific terrorist attack. While the investigation is underway, authorities are calling on residents to remain calm and vigilant. CNN's Reid Binion has more.
It's a big van crashing the people in the mosque.
A witness describing the scene after a van plowed through a crowd of pedestrians near a London mosque early Monday.
I see police, ambulance, people lying on the floor, and a van as well.
The deadly incident taking place just after midnight in North London's Finsbury Park. The location a key detail as the investigation unfolds. Finsbury Park belongs to a larger borough that is home to a sizable Muslim community. The timing also potentially important, just days before the end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, at an hour when worshippers were finishing prayers.
This is actually sending a shockwave within the Muslim community in the UK and obviously with the wider society as well. Now, we as a Muslim community, we feel we're being terrorized.
Authorities treating it as a terrorist attack.
The Counter-Terrorism Command is investigating.
London Mayor Sadiq Khan calling the incident a, quote, horrific terrorist attack on innocent people. Witnesses describing it as intentional.
No doubts.
A 48-year-old male suspect, allegedly the van's driver, detained by people at the scene and arrested on suspicion of attempted murder, according to officials.
The people overpowered him and they keep on the ground.
Police not initially releasing an image of the suspect and saying the investigation into the incident was ongoing. I'm Reid Binion reporting.
Still in London, detectives investigating the fire at Grenfell Tower released images and footage from inside the charred building. The material was obtained by a specialist police recovery team working closely with colleagues from the London Ambulance Service and the London Fire Brigade as part of the ongoing operation. British Finance Minister Philip Hammond says it is his understanding that cladding used on the Grenfell Tower was flammable and banned in the UK. But the company that provided it says that is not true. Well, as you see in the video, everything got burned in the building. Survivors say the material helped spread the fire that is feared to have killed 58 people. The Philippine Embassy in London saying Ligaya Moore, the Filipina missing in the London fire, has not been found. This despite a diligent search made in coordination with the Metropolitan Police and the Filipino community. Moore has now been included by the Met Police as among those presumed to have died in the tragedy. A Filipino-American sailor is among those killed in a ship collision near Japan over the weekend. 23-year-old fire controlman Carlos Victor Ganzon Sibayan and 6 of his co-workers were missing after the USS Fitzgerald collided with a Philippine-flagged cargo ship Saturday morning. Their bodies were later found in a flooded section of the destroyer. Sibuyan was based in Chula Vista, California, but was born in the Philippines and lived in Pasay City. Sibuyan's cousin, Vanessa Venco, tells CNN Philippines he served in the U.S. Navy for almost 4 years. You're still watching Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. After the backlash on the Tourism Department's latest advertisement, the Filipino wife of the blind Japanese retiree in the campaign speaks up. And on the sidelines of the Battle of Marawi, a simple letter of encouragement and gratitude brings this soldier to tears. More on the story when Newsnight returns. Welcome back. Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. Next segment of the show, and in the remaining portions of the show, we have some stories for you, heartwarming stories. Soldiers in Iligan and also in Marawi will be receiving or have already received care packages that were sent by a group called Go Negosyo Kapatid for Marawi. There are many items in those care packages, personal items, even SIM and load cards, cell phone load cards, but also letters from collected from people from all over the country. Each care package has a letter, and that's what moved many soldiers to tears. We have that story for you. You'll see that very moving video in just a bit. In the meantime, we'd like to greet some of our viewers. Edgar Henovia, who is watching from Taguig City. Jez Orbe, who's watching from Iligan. Elmer Engalia, who's watching from Tayabas City in Quezon. Tell us what you think of the stories tonight, especially all our stories on Marawi. About I guess about a third, almost a third of the newscast is about what is going on in Marawi City. Tell us what you think. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pio Ontiveros. Our top stories: amid fresh airstrikes in Marawi, up to 250 million pesos worth of shabu seized from a Maute stronghold. Authorities recovered 11 kilograms of high-grade shabu and 4 high-powered firearms. These were discovered during a clearing operation. The Western Mindanao Command notes, so far, this is the largest illegal drug haul since the crisis in the city began. A soldier fighting against the Maute, wiping away a tear. The troops read letters of encouragement and thanks written by ordinary citizens, such as those contained in care packages distributed by the Go Negosyo Kapatid for Marawi group. Yet another attack in the United Kingdom. A van plowed through a crowd of Muslim worshippers near a London mosque early Monday, killing 1 person and injuring 8 others. Police treating this as a terrorist attack. Officials saying a 48-year-old male suspect, allegedly the van's driver, detained by people at the scene and arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Our top story tonight: illegal drugs and firearms recovered in Marawi City. You're looking at photographs showing 11 kilograms of high-grade shabu and 4 high-powered firearms found in a house used by Maute fighters. The military says the stash has a street value of up to 250 million pesos. It was discovered during a clearing operation. Authorities had found shabu in sachets in the early days of the crisis in Marawi City. The Western Mindanao Command notes, so far, this is the largest illegal drug haul since the crisis began. Let's speak now to Lieutenant Colonel Joar Herrera, the spokesperson of Joint Task Force Marawi. Good evening, sir. Welcome to CNN Philippines.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening po.
Well, Colonel Herrera, can you tell us what is the very latest? We've been made aware that there is an ongoing firefight, ongoing clearing operation in one of the barangays there in Marawi City.
Yes, currently the Armed Forces of the Philippines still conducting the combat clearing operations, particularly on 4 barangays within the Bongalo Poblacion. This is a commercial area where the enemy has established its stronghold and established defensive positions and snipers' nests. And last night, after clearing operation, we were able to recover more or less 11 kilos of shabu and several firearms in a Maute stronghold. The 49th Infantry Battalion, 9th Infantry Division conducted a swift clearing operation, and after which they discovered this huge amount of high-grade shabu.
Colonel Herrera, can you tell us, when you say that these are portions of these 4 barangays considered Maute strongholds, they've holed up there, they're fighting tooth and nail, they refuse to give up? Is this like their last stand? Are they going to fight to the death?
We're definitely, based on our assessment, this is considered their last stand, where they optimize the presence of highly structured buildings, including mosques. They have established their defensive positions, sniper's nest, and machine gun nest. They have also barricaded using IEDs and other bombs like the fuel bombs. This is like a Molotov bomb combined with fuel. They are using this to impede the movement of our troops toward the center of gravity of the enemy.
Itong mga Molotov bombs, Colonel Herrera, these are the bombs that they were making just a week or 2 ago, right? Do you have any idea how many they made and how many they're using right now?
Exactly. They've been using this to impede the movement of our troops. If you will imagine, there are a lot of houses that were burned in that area because they are using this to destroy properties. Mm-hmm. And they also using this to impede the movements of our troops. So this kind of tactics are being utilized in order to facilitate the defensive position. It can be noted during the firefight with the Marines in that last 2 weeks ago.
Right.
They have used this to disrupt the movement of our Marines. Mm-hmm. So they have inflicted heavy casualty on us, right, with the use of these Molotov bombs combined with anti-tank weapons and snipers.
And that was the encounter 2 Fridays ago that killed Marine Lieutenant Savillano and 12 of his men, right? Colonel Herrera, can you answer this? The estimate is that 100 to 150 fighters left. We are talking of Filipino nationals, right? Walang pinag-uusapan dito na foreign nationals?
Well, based on the report that we have developed, we are now confronting a hybrid threat. This is a combined elements of the Abu Sayyaf group, Maute, criminal elements. As you can see, we have discovered huge amount of high-grade shabu, mm-hmm, and other private armed groups. This can also be attributed also to the presence of international terrorist groups. And the 100 to 120 militants that are still holding or that are still doing the defensive stand is a combined elements of these several armed groups.
All right, and one last question, Colonel Herrera. There was a report that was it a battalion or a brigade that was sent from Iloilo to Marawi, correct? So these are reinforcement troops?
Yes, we have the 82nd Infantry Battalion from 3rd Infantry Division. This will be augmented to provide security operations in a controlled area. these troops, one battalion composed of 4 companies, were already designated on the respective locations to provide security and to provide more firepower to our current troops here in Marawi.
All right. Lieutenant Colonel Joar Herrera, spokesperson for Joint Task Force Marawi. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Now, despite being an Islamic city, Christians are free to practice their faith in Marawi. And as the siege goes on, a church leader travels there to show support not only for Christians, but for the Muslim residents as well. Our senior correspondent, David Santos, is back with that story.
Father Chito Soganub has been serving this chapel inside the Mindanao State University for years now.
That all the Christians, all the Catholics, praying for your safety, praying that this war would end.
Since Father Chito was taken hostage by militants, the chapel has not celebrated any Mass there. But for the first time on Corpus Christi Sunday, a hastily prepared Mass is held in the chapel. In fact, this could be the first Catholic Mass inside Marawi since the city's cathedral was desecrated at the height of the attack that began May 23. Only a handful comes in attendance.
In this season of prayer, of Ramadan, the Muslims prayed and very holy for them. Kaya ito din is very trying for them. But I know that God will also answer their prayers.
Father Chito is a respected religious leader in Marawi both by minority Christians and Muslims alike. He operates an ecumenical preschool. This is his humble bedroom, just adjacent to a classroom. Books and a newspaper are still in his bed, which has not been made up. Father Chito is also active in interfaith dialogue. And since it's Father's Day, Marawi residents, whom he considers his children, can't help but worry for his safety.
Sana hindi siya mawala ng pag-asa. Palagi siyang kasama sa prayer namin na sana safe pa rin siya kasama namin ng mga laiko.
However, it's no special Sunday for militants still holding out in Marawi. Government forces continue the series of bombing runs throughout the city. As dark smoke billows the city's horizon, bursts of heavy artillery fire can be heard in the distance. Cause-oriented groups, on the other hand, distribute relief aid to Marawi residents who choose to stay in their homes but are away from the war zone.
And also this is a good opportunity na maramdaman din ng mga Maranaos that Christians also reaching out and also concerned for their well-being and so on. So yung aming pagtulong hindi lang sa Christians but also with the Maranaos.
David Santos, CNN Philippines.
The Supreme Court will likely discuss in tomorrow's en banc session a motion to transfer the trial of suspects in the Marawi crisis to Manila. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre has been asking the High Court to transfer the trial venue from a special court in Cagayan de Oro to a court inside Camp Bagong Diwa in Taguig City. The Justice Secretary cites security as the main reason for the motion. Aguirre told media this morning he met with Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno and that she agreed to the request.
We agreed that we hope that we could establish at least 2 courtrooms. One of the reasons na binigay niya is that siguro it's better na talagang diyan sa Taguig para yung itong military role ng camp evangelista will be concentrated dun sa quelling the Marawi siege.
But Supreme Court spokesman Theodore Tez says no decision has been reached. He notes the Chief Justice cannot act on this matter alone and that such a decision requires the approval of the full court. Time to check now how major roads here in Metro Manila are looking on your screens. Ross Boulevard and Quirino Avenue. If you're southbound going to Baclaran, check the right side. Vehicles building up at certain points. Same is true on the left side where we're seeing occasional slowdowns approaching the intersection. So you can expect delays if you're bound for Luneta. Let's move under the Skyway. This is Magallanes northbound at grade. If you're coming from SLEX, traffic turns moderate to heavy. Prepare for a slow drive toward the exits to Pasay, Manila, and EDSA. Plans are underway to make sure commuters have access to better and safer transportation in the next 3 years. Some government officials met today to discuss how this will be carried out. McCoy Popioko reports to us live from Quezon City. McCoy, what was the outcome of this meeting?
Hi, Pia. Modern, safer, and environment-friendly public utility vehicles. That's what transportation officials promise. It's a big day for the government officials who launched the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program after 14 years. After several revisions and a lot of protests, the government rolls out the program within the month. Apart from Transportation Secretary Arturo Gade, other cabinet members were also present in the event, including Executive Secretary Salvador Miguel Dea, Trade and Industry Secretary Mon Lopez, Budget Secretary Ben Jokno, and Catalino Cuy, the officer in charge of the Department of Interior and Local Government. Other officials of transport groups who support the program were also in the event. Let's listen in to Secretary Arturo Gade.
Ang pakiusap ko lang ho, bigyan natin ng pagkakataon mag-ugat at mabuhay at bigyan natin kabuhayan ito. Huwag lang ho nating agarang tiradurin ang lumilipad na programa. Nabanggit kanina, meron na hong mga bangko na handang magbigay paraan ng tinatawag na financing. Financing na makakamura, na makakaluwag sila.
Under the program, public vehicles that are over 15 years are banned from the roads, and they will be consolidated in groups since single unit operators will no longer be given a franchise. Routes around the country will also be reviewed and may be revised. Tugade says the transition period is from this year 2017 until 2020. Pia.
McCoy, does this mean there will be a hike in fares?
Well, Pia, Secretary Tugade says that's possible, but he couldn't readily say so because according to him, that depends to a lot of factors that they have to consider. And here's more of Tugade's explanation about that.
Yung dagdag pamasahe, hindi naman basta-basta gagawing whimsical o capricious yan. Ang pagtaas ho ng presyo ay ginagawang weighing yung mga ibang faktor gaya ng cost of products, cost of goods sold, yung mga sweldo.
Tugade also mentioned about the financing program that they will offer to affected public utility drivers, and he hopes that that financing program helps ease the need for a major fare hike. Pia.
McCoy Popioko there, reporting live from Quezon City. A new expressway is helping decongest Metro Manila traffic. We'll tell you which provinces it'll connect later. Plus, Filipino fans of British singer and former One Directioner Harry Styles are going crazy over his concert here next year. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back. Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. We're going to give you this story next on the show. Remember that advertisement of the Department of Tourism featuring a blind retiree, a Japanese retiree here in the Philippines. That ad, of course, was pulled out, but CNN Philippines found the Filipino wife of this Japanese retiree. Of course, that's not him in the commercial. Someone portrayed him. But the Filipino wife saying the story is true. They did get to go around the Philippines. So that man does exist. We'd also like to say hello to greet some of our viewers here on CNN Philippines Newsnight. Among them is Tess Nebrida, who says, addressing us beyond CNN Philippines, madami kayong news na inaabangan. Kasi sa inyo na lang nakikita namin ang totoong malasakit at pantay na balita. Salamat. Salamat din po, ma'am. Tess, thank you very much. Marvin Unabia, who's watching from Iloilo. Rita Ishikawa, watching from Japan. Lini Malolot, who's watching from Lebanon. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. We appreciate your presence. I know it sounds funny, but your presence, you're watching us, amounts to your presence here in the show. So thank you very much. You're watching Newsnight. Metro Pacific Investments Corporation is breaking ground on the new Cavite-Laguna Expressway. Businesses hope this can be an example for the government to reconsider the private sector as its partner in infrastructure. Claire Yao reports.
With the drop of its arm, the backhoe breaks ground on the 35 billion peso Cavite-Luzon Expressway. Today, the first day of construction, estimated to go on until 2020. The expressway, referred to as the Cala-X, will link Kawit Cavite to Binyan, Laguna. It will span 45 kilometers with 8 interchanges. Once built, Cala-X should cut travel time between Cavite and Laguna from 2 hours to just 45 minutes. Not only will this help decongest Metro Manila, it will support the cities around southern Luzon, where malls, factories, schools, and houses are fast sprouting.
Ngayon po, inaugurate natin yung Cala-X na kung saan yung connectivity at mobility between Cavite and Laguna will be expounded. Add to this the feature of expanding the LRT and the PNR. And then what will you have is a complete network of a transportation facility by land and by rails.
The Cala-X project ramps up at a time when public-private partnerships seem to be slowing down. Cala-X is one of the 12 PPP deals forged during the Aquino administration. But under the Duterte presidency, the government has preferred to go it alone or rely on foreign loans instead. There's hope the Cala-X can show just what the private sector can contribute.
I think it's their decision, no? But so far as the tollways, the PPP project has worked quite well. And I hope we keep it that way for the...
Economic managers say they're open to different modes of building infrastructure. But they say the priority will be whatever will get things done in the fastest and cheapest way possible. Claire Yao, CNN Philippines.
The Court of Tax Appeals orders the Internal Revenue Bureau to issue a tax refund worth over 761 million pesos to a unit of San Miguel Corporation. That after the agency erroneously collected tax from San Miguel Brewery's light brand beer in 2012. In a 33-page decision, the tax court says San Miguel overpaid excise taxes due to its removal of San Miglite in 2012 after the BIR considered San Miglite a variant of the older pale Pilsen brand, which required the company to pay more taxes. But SMB argued the light brand beer should have been taxed as a new brand instead. Time now for the latest in sports. It'll be the San Miguel Beermen versus TNT Katropa in the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals. Our sports desk anchor Miko Halili has more. Miko?
Thanks, Pia. The San Miguel Beermen and TNT Katropa both believe that they are ready for Game 1 of the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals. The Beermen are the heavy favorites heading into the championship series with their very talented lineup and experience. TNT, on the other hand, they want to stun the mighty Beermen in the finals. TNT head coach Nash Rosella, who is making his PBA Finals debut, says he hopes that his inexperience could be spun into an advantage.
I believe a lot of times that when you're given new opportunities, sometimes it brings out, a lot of times it brings out the best in you. So this is something new to most of us. I myself is first-timer. Marami kaming players. Again, 9 of the 15 are all first-timers in the PBA Finals. I just hope we all take advantage of this opportunity right in front of us.
It's really hard for us because we don't know yet kung sino yung gagamitin nila. And I'm sure ako din ang coach ng Token Tech, so that's also my strategy para manghula yung kalaban nila. But we will rely on the basic things na ginagawa namin before this coming to the finals.
Catch more sports stories tonight on Sports Desk. I'm Miko Halili. Back to you, Pia.
Thank you, Miko. A soldier fighting terrorists wipes away a tear as the troops read letters of encouragement and gratitude. 2017, not over just yet, but we'll tell you why fans of pop superstar Harry Styles are going bananas ahead of his Manila concert next year. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back, Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. In the next segment of the show, apart from entertainment stories, we have this very heartwarming story for you. Soldiers in Iligan first and then in Marawi later on, receiving care packages from the Go Negosyo Kapatid for Marawi group. These care packages containing personal items, items for hygiene, even socks, black socks, because soldiers wear combat boots, they need to change their socks. Also, those care packages containing even SIM cards and cell phone load for them, and also very important letters from ordinary citizens from all over the country. These were put in those care packages, and you'll see the kind of reaction this gets from soldiers down in Mindanao. Remember Mr. Uchimura? He is the blind character in the Tourism Department's recent advertisement, which went viral for, well, the wrong reasons. Some say it was copied from an old commercial from South Africa. In this report, our Ivy Sonar finds out more about the man who inspired the advertisement.
Days after the Tourism Department cut its 650 million peso deal with Macan World Group Philippines over its alleged copycat ad, the wife of the blind Japanese man whose experiences were featured in the commercial says the story is true to life, at least most of it. Kukainye, the wife of 72-year-old retiree Masaru Ushimura, says they were surprised when it drew flack from the public over allegations that it copied a 2014 South Africa tourism ad. She says the Tourism Department, through Macan, sent her an email on June 2, barely over 3 weeks ago, saying, quote, "It would mean a great deal for us to use his name in the said commercial," titled Sites. Yan Gonzalez is Ms. Nye's maiden name. No interviews were done by the DOT or the agency with Mr. Uchimura. There was no compensation or payment offered, said Ms. Nye.
Nag-send sila ng form sa akin na pipirmahan ko na I agree with it. Pero wala naman kaming directly talaga sa kanila. Nag-message lang sila sa amin about that.
The ad, shot in different locations in the Philippines, was launched via Facebook and TV on June 12, Independence Day, and became a viral hit, tugging at heartstrings. And Mr. Uchimura's reaction?
Nahihiya talaga siya. So, nung sinabi ko sa kanyang, "You're very famous, you become star," sabi niya, "Ha? Bakit ganon?" Parang bigla siyang naging star.
Ms. Nye, now 37, says Mr. Uchimura first came to the Philippines in 2004 when he was about to retire from government service. She was his former caregiver. They both returned to Tokyo that same year. In April 2005, they returned to the Philippines.
Umikot talaga siya. Pumunta siya ng Baguio, Tagaytay, nag-stay siya ng Manila, Makati. Paikot-ikot talaga siya.
That's when Mr. Uchimura decided to retire in the country when he was granted a special resident retiree visa. They lived in Cebu for 7 years before moving to Bacolod in 2012.
Mas gusto niya talaga yung spirit ng mga tao kasi nga masaya. Hindi siya nakakakita, but all the time parang she feels special.
Ms. Nye spoke with us by phone from Japan, where she's with Mr. Ushimura, who's undergoing medical treatment. She shared with us her husband's fondness for Filipino food, like balut, dinuguan, and lechon. He's also a fan of Filipino musician Jose Marichan. Ms. Nye confirmed what was shown in the commercial was also done by Mr. Ushimura in real life, just like dancing with the Ifugao in Baguio, except for one scene.
Hindi pa kami nag-vegan. Ang ending dun, di ba nasa vegan siya nakaupo, pero hindi kami nag-vegan.
We asked how she and her husband felt about the negative publicity over the ad, which was pulled out 3 days after its launch.
Sabi ko, pinull out naman yung kasi nga may kapareha. Natawa siya. Sabi niya, hindi naman sila nagbayad sa akin pero okay lang naman yun.
Mr. Ushimura turned 73 on June 22. Ivy Sonar, CNN Philippines.
Fans of former One Directioner Harry Styles snap up tickets for his Manila concert on May 1st next year. Our Nicolette Henson-Hizan has more, plus reactions from social media.
Nearly 5 hours after they officially went on sale today, tickets for the Manila concert of British singer Harry Styles are now sold out. That's according to the SM Tickets website. General admission tickets are priced around 1,300 pesos. Gold and platinum tickets cost over 6,800 pesos, while VIP seats have a price tag of as much as 24,000 pesos. This netizen says her worst nightmare came true with these two words. Watch out, Harry. Those who didn't score tickets will stalk you outside the Mall of Asia arena. But this one seems enthusiastic to be homebound on concert day as part of Team Bahay. This Twitter user looks forward to celebrating her birthday at the concert. Another netizen congratulates those who scored tickets. It's like winning the lottery. The hashtag Harry Styles Manila was the top trending topic on Twitter Philippines. A little reminder from SM Tickets for those who got their claim vouchers, physical tickets will be released a month before the concert, April 1, 2018. Stay in the loop with this story by visiting our website at cnnphilippines.com and follow us on social media at CNN Philippines. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Nicolette Henson Hizon.
And before we go, what could it be like to fight in a war you know not when it will end or if you will come out of it alive? Emotions like these get bottled up in a soldier, such as those who fight in and around Marawi. So when letters of encouragement and gratitude written by ordinary citizens, such as those contained in care packages distributed by the Go Negosyo Kapatid for Marawi group reach them, like this one soldier in Iligan, this is what happens. Many of the troops, soldiers and police are in the front lines in Marawi, and some, like that soldier who turned emotional, are securing the entry and exit points of Marawi. The Go Negosyo Kapatid for Marawi is giving government troops in Marawi and Iligan 5,000 care packages. Each bag has a printed message for soldiers that reads, quote, "We are grateful for your sacrifice. Our prayers go with you. Come back home safe." Inside the care packages, personal items including socks and hygiene kits, even cell phone load, and, of course, the letters. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm Pio Ontiveros. See you again tomorrow for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.